Alright, ladies and gentlemen, a few days back Gaijin came out announcing that they're adding a new feature to aerialistic battles, to allow players, if possible, they will be able to join smaller size games. They have been made aware of many of your requests for smaller teams in aerialistic battles, as 16 vs 16 teams are sometimes overwhelming in terms of the number of missiles at once. The keyword is sometimes. With the release of the upcoming major update, we'll be adding an option to the aerialistic battles game selection window where you'll be able to turn on smaller team sizes. This mechanic works in the same way as turning on the option for night battles. If there is enough players in the queue with the option enabled, you'll have a chance of getting into an air battle with the smaller team sizes. This will only be for aircraft with battle rating of 10.0 or higher, where high-end air-to-air missiles are far more prevalent. Now remember last year when I made this video, most of the players had no clue about the fact that a lot of the fun elements of the game has been jeopardized because of the 16 vs 16 matches. And I continued making a few arguments against it, like the fact that Gaijin has conditioned the players to obsess over progression so much that unfortunately it's so hard to knock some sense into these people, and how a lot of the game's elements get overshadowed because of how chaotic the matches are. So as far as this announcement by Gaijin goes, I'm happy that I had a small role in educating the player base to finally come to terms with the fact that the top tier and 32 player matches is a mix-up that just doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, I'm not entirely satisfied by how Gaijin has decided to address this. It seems to me that Gaijin doesn't really understand the problem, and if anything, they are drawing from the wrong points to reach the wrong conclusions. Their tone in this announcement completely shows the fact that they don't really understand the problem. They're simply doing this because the player base is asking them. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining and bringing more arguments to the table for how Gaijin should change their approach to both this and the game itself. In the previous video, we talked about how small maps and saturated objectives in the center of the map contributes to the chaos of the matches, and how that chaoticness renders other features like more detailed radar warning receiver completely useless. My first issue is with the nature of this solution. We already know that whenever you lock something behind options that are more complex in nature, there are less players aware of it, and even less players utilizing it. And even beyond my predictions about how this feature is going to work out, it's completely ignorant to think that only aerialistic battles and top tier are having this problem. Dear Gaijin, 16 vs 16 is by no means an ideal player count for any BR at any game mode. Not because warthunder has an inherent problem or the game engine is not technically advanced enough to host the players on a server, it's simply because your game modes and your maps are not designed around 32 players. You want evidence? Just take a look at the most recent map design, North Holland. The biggest issue right now is the amount of randomized elements within every match. When you allow more players into the game, you're allowing for more RNG to take place in the game. And I totally acknowledge and understand the fact that a small amount of RNG is totally beneficial for the game. It allows for different playstyles to be practiced. It pushes players to risk more and create more exciting scenarios. But with this amount of players, RNG suddenly has a much bigger impact on the game. Now imagine you are an average player that is doing everything right in a circumstance, but since almost every fight is a roll dice, you'll get more and more frustrated for reasons that are out of your hands. All of a sudden, every minute detail can make a match or destroy it. What is the point of nerfing or buffing tanks with engine sounds when the battles are so chaotic that you cannot hear someone sneaking up on you in most cases? What is the point of reducing or increasing reload times for tanks when every small change gets amplified by the player count and totally shifts the tides of battles? So for example, Gaijin decides to reduce the reload time of Abrams to 5 seconds. It does balance things for Abrams in a 1 vs 1 situation. But at the same time, it amplifies the RNG when you are going against 2 Abrams or 3 Abrams or more. And you can literally use the same analogy for rest of the vehicles as well. Alright, enough complaining. What would be the solution? You have to either lower the player count per match or make bigger maps. These two are by far the most reasonable and low-cost solutions for this problem. Make your maps bigger. Overhaul these two garbage game modes. Both of these game modes have similar issues. The average Joe doesn't know what to do in these game modes. Battle becomes a camping fest and some people just stay away defending their capture point. Conquest pushes most of the players to a saturated circle while others are trying to flank them. There are no more capture points and safe capture points to repair your fucking tanks. Movement completely gets deleted out of the equation because it's all about positioning, because people are not moving, and overall everything just feels worse compared to domination. Domination is just by far the most fun and balanced experience that warthunder gameplay can ever offer. Limit the spawns in the beginning for each spawn point to 8 or something. Heck, add another spawn point to the game mode. Or better, bring back the D point. In this game mode, people know what they should go for. They can rotate between flags and communicate better. And if by any means any of you guys are having doubts about the importance of these issues, maybe I need to remind you, after the release of the Fox 3 missiles and the rest of the 4th gen fighters, Warthunder is about to hit the bottom of the barrel in terms of content. The tank lineups are almost finished, so Gaijin needs to start taking more action to improve the quality of the matches. If the matches are fun, the gameplay is bearable, and the number of these types of matches are reduced, players won't only fixate on progression, they can just play the game for what it is, and that can arguably extend the longevity of this game so players can enjoy the game and Gaijin can still earn their money. Alright everybody, it's really hot and humid here. I just want to take this chance and say that I absolutely fucking hate summer, and I hope God removes it in the next patch. That's it for today everybody. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the cause, join our channel membership. If you don't want to, just fucking don't. Thanks for watching, and be seeing you.